if it comes to the point where I see Matt Olson there, and I know that Bryce Harper and Pete Alonso are still waiting in the wings, maybe a round or two later, I think I'm passing on Matt Olson.
Every home run after home run after home run, I was like, holy crap, like, it's the old Altuve, you know?
I'm going after guys like Austin Riley that's going to hit close to 40 home runs with a decent bat.
It has nothing to do with the luxury tax or any of that stuff. It's just the owners want to bring a champion to a team. They're going to do whatever it takes.
All right, welcome to Real Talk Fantasy Baseball. What's up, Javi? I missed you last week. Glad you're back now. How you doing, man?
What's going on, bro? Yeah, I was really looking forward to doing the starting pitchers 1 through 12, and then family stuff came up, so
yeah,
um,
life happens. It happens for all of us, unfortunately.
But shout out to Kevin for filling in, man.
Yeah, Kevin did a good job. I'm glad he was able to get on and fill your shoes for a day. All right, so today we are going over starting pitcher rankings part 2. So the first 12, man, I think we went over 13 last week, and there's a lot of really good pitchers in that first 13. And now we're starting to get to like the 4th and 5th round into the draft, and it gets a little more dicey, kind of like from here on out. There are some, there's some question marks. There's some breakout potential, possibly some busts, and maybe even a couple comeback stories. You never know, man. But let's get right into this first one. Oh, before I forget, we have to make sure that we say that this episode is sponsored by Rival Fantasy. So if you're into daily fantasy sports, whether it's basketball, football's over, but they do football and baseball, head over to rivalfantasy.com or download the Rival Fantasy app. It's your one-stop shop for all your daily fantasy sports needs. They have best ball, season-long drafts, daily challenges, which looks really fun. And they have their own unique bingo game where you pick your own card, you draft your player, and if you hit like certain categories, if you get 5 in a row, diagonal, across, whatever, then you win some money. So it's a cool little thing. You don't have to put too much money down. Usually you can put like $3, $5, whatever you want. And also whatever you deposit on your first deposit, they will match up to $200. Oh,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to start playing that.
Yeah, man. Those daily challenges actually look really fun. The guy that approached me about, this partnership that we have for 2024, he was showing me like the basketball aspect because that's all they had at the moment because baseball didn't start yet. Yeah. And it looks really fun, dude. I feel like I would do really well at this at the daily challenges.
Get a little side hustle going on. There you go.
Can't wait. Once I start this, I'll start taking screenshots, or I might even just like share my screen and kind of just like, do my picks for the day to kind of like show everyone, how to do it. And maybe, people can copy even my bets and just head over to the website and do the same thing.
Word.
All right. And also, if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. We much appreciate that. And if you're listening on Spotify, just go ahead and give us a follow. And everywhere that's available, hit that little bell so that way you get all of our notifications. And thank you guys. All right. So 2024 starting pitcher rankings part 2. Moving into the first name on the list, which he's number 14 in ADP, behind Max Fried and Aaron Nola that we just finished off talking about last week. And I don't know about you, man, but I'm pretty down on Logan Webb. He's really good at home, not very good at away ballparks, but there's some other underlying numbers. What do you think?
Yeah, when I was doing, my little research here, I didn't realize he was second in Cy Young voting, which is I'm like, his last season was way better than the season before that. He was way better than last season, and he was like 11th in Cy Young voting, which is crazy to me. this past season, he ended up with an 11-13 record, a 3.25 ERA, pitched over 215 innings, which I think led the league in innings pitched. 194 strikeouts with 31 walks, which is pretty good. But I'm not a big Logan Webb guy. I don't know, maybe because I'm just a giant hater. But yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of upside potential. He's still young, 27 years old. He's still in his prime. So there's room for improvement. But like you said, I think the home and away splits are a tale of two two sides, whatever the saying goes. But yeah, that's my take on him. 14, you said 14 ADP?
No, ADP is 48. He's the 14th starting pitcher off the board.
Um, I'll tell you this: I would take him over Aaron, which was at the end of at the end of the top 12. I'd take him over Nola.
Yeah, I can kind of see them like being similar to like
Mm-hmm.
to around like the same like draft kind. Like you had they have Aaronola and then Max Fried and then Logan Webb. I think Max Fried is just
Max
like
Fried. Oh yeah.
miles ahead of both of these
Oh
guys,
yeah.
man. He's
Even with
such
the
a good
injuries and
pitcher.
everything.
See,
Yep.
that's the thing. I think it's just because of like the injury risk because he had the forearm thing last season. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of like what is making people not want to draft him so early. But man, he has top 5 potential, dude. If
Yes,
he
he
can
does.
if he can pitch 180 innings, you
Yep.
know, that's Cy Young caliber, imagine having 2 guys on the team, Max Fried and Spencer Strider for the Braves.
Oh
They're
my.
they're so strong, dude. As
Yep.
long as
Yep.
everyone can stay healthy, man, and they just keep
Yep.
on adding pieces. They added Chris Sale. Chris Sale's slider is just second to none, dude. And
Still
if
wicked.
yeah, he just needs to stay healthy. I mean, we say
Yeah.
that a lot about a lot of different players, but Chris Sale's a different breed, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
The angle that he just comes with his slider, it's just incredible that anyone can even put some wood on the ball.
Yeah.
But Logan
Yep.
Webb, amazing at Oracle Park. He had a 2.26 ERA at home in 16 starts, a .98 WHIP. Not so
That's
great on
great.
the road, though. A 4.31 ERA and 17 starts with the 1.18 WHIP. It's like a completely different pitcher
Yeah.
when he's not pitching at Oracle Park. But that also kind of like proves the point that Oracle Park is the best pitcher's ballpark to play in. Like that's where pitchers go to really like kind of like maximize like their potential,
Right.
opposite of hitters, which is why JD Martinez, maybe one of the reasons why he didn't want to sign with the Giants. Same thing with Shohei Ohtani. It's like imagine what Barry Bonds would have done if he didn't play for the Giants. If he would have played at any other ballpark, dude.
Yeah.
Imagine how many home
Man.
runs he would have had. Already
Yeah.
being the home run leader, but imagine
Yeah.
the possibilities.
That's crazy, man.
Logan Webb, extreme ground ball pitcher, 62.7 ground ball percentage. The league average is in the 40s, and he's at 62. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. A
14.9
lot of double plays.
Yeah, a lot of double plays. If you have a solid infield behind you, which the
Mm-hmm.
Giants, they just lost Brandon Crawford to free agency. He's on the Cardinals now on a 1-year deal. Very, very small contract. I was really surprised that he only got $2 million.
Yeah.
But the Giants don't really have the best infield, so that's one of the reasons why I'm not really too high on Logan Webb. He uses his sinker a lot, 33.6% of the time. And that was actually his most hittable pitch with a batting average against of 313. I think that could, one part could be because of the infield behind him, the gloves and the arms that are not so elite, but it also could be because banning of the shift, because there
Right.
is no shift anymore. Those ground balls that used to turn into double plays or easy outs, they're not so easy anymore. They're finding holes, they're finding gaps. So maybe the best idea is to use the sinker, a little bit less often, kind of like as like a secondary pitch, because it definitely is his primary pitch. So I feel like maybe he needs to like focus more on, I don't know, something else. Like I can't be a couch manager. I am in my,
Right.
but I don't know what they can do to really help out Logan Webb because he doesn't have wipeout stuff. 194 strikeouts in 216 innings, so he doesn't even have a strikeout per inning.
Yeah.
The whole season long numbers, the 3.25 ERA, the 107 WHIP, that looks great and all, especially with his 31 base on balls. That's
Yeah.
great. He has a very low walk percentage, but away from Oracle Park, he was just kind of like I wouldn't even stream him,
Jekyll and Hyde, bro.
especially with the supporting cast that he has. He doesn't have a lot of run support with the Giants lineup.
Yeah.
They don't really have like any of those like stars out there to that other pitchers are scared to pitch against.
I agree. Yep. Yeah, I'm not a big I even before I wasn't a big Logan Webb guy just because I don't know, man, he seems kind of dull to me. He's
Yeah.
kind of boring, like
Usually like the pitchers that don't really get a lot of strikeouts are always kind of like that.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean that's my take. I mean, there's room for improvement, obviously. Like I said, he's 27, so I mean, who knows? Maybe during the off season he worked out some stuff. But like you said, the Giants, their offense isn't that great. So, whether he's gonna get another 11 wins, who knows? Depending on how the Giants offense pans out this season. But yeah, that's me. Meh.
Yeah, I'm kind of like in the same boat. All right, moving on to Tarik Skubal. Now, honestly, if it's me, if I see Tarik Skubal there and Logan Webb, I'm definitely going Tarik Skubal, man. This guy only pitched 80 innings in 2023, but they were phenomenal, dude.
Hmm.
His ADP is 50, which is just a couple spots behind Logan Webb. And it might be because he, small sample size, only 80 innings last season, didn't pitch a lot the season before either, but a 32.9% K rate, a 4.5 walk rate, a 280 ERA, 230 xERA, an expected batting average against of 197. Like, what are
Yeah.
people waiting for at ADP 50? This guy should be going at least 10 spots ahead of that.
Yeah, I can see him going up there before Nola too, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, like you said, small sample size. He was injured. I believe he had a flexor tendon or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, he came back and holy crap, man, 7-3. Like you said, 280 ERA, 102 strikeouts in 80 innings. That's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how well you see the Tigers offense. I don't know what your take on that is. I think a lot of his stuff is gonna depend on how the offense works while he's on the mound. But he's also 27 years old. Um, you know, he's recovered. Obviously, he recovered from that injury. Full spring training coming up and everything. This guy has a lot of potential, man. I like Tarik Skubal.
Yeah, I like Tarik Skubal a lot. He's very good at limiting the hard contact. Opponents only had an average exit velocity of 88.5 miles per hour. Great ground ball percentage, great fly ball percentage, great line drive rate, 96 percentile in strikeout percentage, a career high, 96 percentile in walk percentage, a career low. July was pretty rocky, posting a 4.57 ERA in August. Uh, I'm sorry, that was July. In August, it got a little better, a 3.45 ERA. But in 5 starts in September, Skubal had a 0.9 ERA, less than 1 in 5 starts in September, man.
Yeah,
43 strikeouts in 30 innings. Huge upside. I really
yeah,
like Tarik Skubal, and I know the supporting cast isn't there. He's not going to have a lot of run support. But, dude, this guy started 15 games, 2.80 ERA, 7-3 record. He only lost
yeah.
3 games. And
That's
that's
crazy.
playing with a weak offense behind him,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know?
They got a lot of young pieces too.
Mhm.
Riley Green and Torkelson, and if they can put it together, man, like I haven't done my research on what their rotation looks like, but this guy should be the one leading the pack, right? Skewball.
Probably.
Yeah.
He's the one with the most upside, the most potential. You know
Yeah.
what else favors him also is that Detroit is also a pitcher's ballpark. So he's not going to be giving up a lot of home runs, a lot of hard contact. I mean, he's good at limiting the hard contact already, you know.
Yeah.
And Javi Baez playing in the infield, that's a great guy to have playing behind you. The
Yeah.
defense is just crazy good, you know.
Yep.
There was a little bit where a little time where he kind of like got into his head. I think when he went from Chicago to Detroit, you know, actually he was with the Mets for a little bit too. But when he went to
Mhm.
Detroit, I think that kind of like maybe got into his head a little bit, but he's kind of come into his own again. His
Yeah.
defense is really solid, man. So
Yeah.
having him at shortstop, you know, it definitely helps Tarik Skubal with
He
that
could be
high
a he
percentage.
could be like a low key sleeper right there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I actually have Tarik Skubal in my sights. Like whenever I see him in the draft, if he's there, you know, depending on who else is around him, unless there's like other stars, but I got him up there, man. I really think that that him out of this whole list, he's the one that I want the most.
Yeah. I'm taking notes, bro. I'm taking your plans here. No.
I know we're doing 2 more drafts together,
I know.
man. So I'm giving you
Yeah.
all my
Oh, your
my
insiders.
insights and all that. I,
Nah, man. Yeah, but I like me some Tarik Skubal, man. I like me.
all right, next guy, Framber Valdez. Now I used to like Framber Valdez a lot, man, but that was before banning of the shift, you know, and
Yeah.
his ground ball heavy approach with the 95-mile-an-hour sinker and the 80-mile-an-hour curveball. I think that it's not the same as it was in years past, you know, because
Mhm.
the ground balls are just finding holes now, you know, and
Yeah.
I feel like at ADP 51, we're kind of at the point in the draft where all the aces are gone. And while Valdez was amazing in 2022, it looks like his true self is kind of like somewhere maybe around like a 350 plus ERA with about a strikeout per inning and a decent walk rate. The good thing is he has that supporting cast, a lot of run support
Yeah.
behind him.
Yeah, that's that was gonna be my take on it. Luckily he does play for an Astros team that is stacked. Framber, I like I'm like you, dude. I used to like Framber Valdez a lot. He's up there in age now. He's 30. Um, you know, 3.45 ERA. He had 200 strikeouts in 198 innings pitched, which is a little bit below a strikeout per inning. Um, but he's still, I would say, maybe the Astros' best pitcher, kind of. Like,
Depending on Verlander, because Verlander
yeah,
could be the guy still. We just have to wait
yeah,
and see like which Verlander we're gonna get, if you know when he's gonna be healthy, because there's a lot
yeah,
of question marks about Verlander right now.
yeah. That's kind of why I was on the fence about it. But he has been like their guy pretty much as far as innings pitched and the more consistent pitcher out of the bunch. But I mean, at that ADP, mm, I could see that's an okay spot for me. There might be another guy that I'll probably take before him in one of the guys coming up that we'll be talking about. But as far as that, he's all right. I just like the fact that he plays with the Astros,
Yeah,
and then you're not guaranteed wins, but they're gonna win a lot of games. They're gonna win a lot of games, and he's gonna be one of those guys that's gonna be picking up those wins. If he obviously health hasn't been an issue with this guy. He's been pitching plenty of innings. So yeah, I'm cool with Valdez where he's at.
yeah. You know what kind of worries me though is like last year we mentioned that he had the 3.45 ERA. His
Hmm.
expected ERA is 4.33, man. So it
Damn.
looks like he actually had some pretty good luck in 2023. You know, like I said, he's a ground ball heavy guy. So um, a lot of those that should have been hits were actually like fielded because Altuve is such a great defender, and their shortstop. I'm blanking on his name, the new guy. Um,
Oh,
I wish we were on the live right now, so that way I could have someone in the comments help me out. But you guys know who I mean. He has an exceptional glove, also. Not Carlos Correa, exceptional, but still pretty good. Alex Bregman's a good defender, so he does have a really good infield behind him to help him out with those ground balls, which is why I actually prefer him to Logan Webb, who's actually going about 10 spots ahead of Framber Valdez. I do like Framber Valdez just a little bit more than Logan Webb, even though the xERA it's worse than Logan Webb's. I like the supporting cast. It was a little weird to see him go 12-11 last season, though, because of all that run support. But it also could have been one of the reasons is because the Rangers were just so good and they're part of the same division. They're in the same state, and there's a little animosity between them.
Oh yeah.
We saw like the Corey Seager comments, the Alex Bregman comments. I guess we'll never know, and this season, this upcoming season is actually going to be pretty exciting to see the former World Series champs, both of these teams, former World Series champs, kind of like duking it out a few times through the season. I love to see those rivalries.
It's crazy because in that division, all you would hear about is the Astros.
Yeah.
That the division is not that great, but now you got the World Series winners, you got an ex-World Series winner. Now it's gonna be a race, top two guys, see who takes it from that division. Yeah, that's exciting, dude. Jeremy Pena.
Thank you.
Jeremy Pena.
Thank you.
Like what? Oh man, this young guy.
A lot of times these rookies, like there's so many rookies that have been coming up in the last couple of seasons, and one of the reasons for that is because of the MLBPA, the new rules that they have, where if they bring up their prospects for the entire season and they end up winning Rookie of the Year, then they get the draft compensation.
Right,
so
right.
A lot of these guys are kind of like emerging, and sometimes they get lost in the shuffle because you got so many good like top 100 prospects that are coming into the league, and the Orioles have like a bunch of those guys.
Yeah, they do. Yep.
It's gonna be exciting season.
Yep.
Yeah, very exciting. All right, next on the list, we have Freddy Peralta coming in at ADP 56, 17th on our list, 3.86 ERA. You know what? You really like this guy, so I'm gonna let you take this first.
Freddy P. 27 years old. Not bad. He had a pretty good season. 12-10, 3.86 ERA, 54 walks with 210 strikeouts in 165 innings. I was looking at his stats, man, and I'm surprised. Like this was like one of his first really good seasons that he's kind of shown what he can do. Um, he's been showing a lot of flashes of top level stuff. He plays, with the Brewers. Brewers are, they're okay. But I would probably take him over a Logan Webb too. I'd probably take him maybe over Framber just because he's got, I think, a little bit more upside potential. I think Framber Valdez, we've seen, like his prime kind of like is we're kind of seeing the back end of his prime years. But Freddie P's coming up, and I like me some Freddie P, dude. He plays on a pretty good Brewers team, so he's not flashy or anything like that, but I take a chance on Freddie P. What was his ADP at?
56.
Yeah, that's a good. I'd probably take him over Framber.
Yeah, I'd honestly take him over Framber and over Logan Webb.
Yeah,
dude, maybe it's the ballpark, but Freddy Peralta, I think he's so much better than his ERA suggests. He had a really high ERA, 3.86. Milwaukee is a really good place to hit for hitters, But what I did like to see from Freddy Peralta, he made 30 starts. It's a career high for him. 165 innings pitched. That's a career high. 210 strikeouts in 165 innings. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
And his walks a little high, a little high for me. 54 walks in 165 innings. I'm always about like I like to see guys that walk less than 50 batters per season.
Yeah.
And that's actually guys that are closer to like 180 innings. So his walks are a little bit high, which is why his whip is a little inflated at 1.12. But if he can kind of get those walks under control, he has a really good 4-pitch mix, man. And all of his pitches had a batting average against of 224 or lower. The problem is they were all around like 224. Like usually you have that like one wipeout pitch that's just like unhittable where guys are only batting 120, 130 against, something like that. But unfortunately, all 4 of his pitches were about that same mark. I think all of them were above 200. But really good at limiting the hard contact. He did give up a lot of home runs. Those Miller Park, I'm sorry, it's not called Miller Park anymore. I think it's called Great American Family Field. I think that's
Man, dude, they changed the names on so many stadiums, bro. Come on, man.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like it's a good place to hit in, which is why they have the slide there with the guy that slides down. And I think we saw an MLB analyst go down that slide and end up like breaking his shoulder or something. Do you remember that a couple seasons ago?
No,
I don't remember who that was, but
that's funny as hell though.
Yeah, it was really funny. Fastball, slider, changeup, and curve combo. Peralta loves to get whiffs on that high fastball, but unfortunately, it's only about 94 miles an hour. If it was, closer to like 97, 98, he'd probably be getting a lot more whiffs on it. But everything else he throws kind of like low, changing the eye level. But 12 of the 26 home runs he allowed were on the fastball. So it looks like he's leaving that fastball just in the zone just a little bit too much. Maybe like the changing of the eye level also, it does get him the strikeouts, but it also, increases those walks because a lot of the batters that don't swing at those pitches that are in the dirt, those are what's getting him in trouble. But then also leaving that high fastball in the zone, that could be a recipe for disaster also. I think that Freddy Peralta actually has SP1 potential if he can find out how to lower his fly ball rate. 27.1% fly ball rate. That's a little bit too high, man, when the league average is about 24%. So I'd like to see that a little bit lower than league average, but I think he can still do it. He's still somewhat young, 27 years old. He's been in the league for a little while now. He's actually becoming like a veteran. So I think that he can find it. It's just Milwaukee. I think that's going to be his Achilles heel for now.
Yeah, I think also the fact that Corbin Burns isn't there anymore, and he's gonna be one of those top guys. I believe Woodruff is still injured, right?
Yeah, he's out for the season. So
so Peralta,
him though.
Peralta's he's gonna be the guy.
Yeah,
I mean, what you gotta, when you get an opportunity like that, you gotta take it and you gotta run with it, man. So we can actually see a better season from Peralta. Maybe a little bit of pressure, but hey, man, like that's what happens. When you're gonna be that top guy, when guys are gonna be depending on you to, to strike out these batters and get these outs. It could be like a good thing, it could be a bad thing. But with the stuff that he has, he, like you said, he has SP1 potential all the way.
I think he just needs to, and I think he can. I think he's very capable, but I think he needs to take on that like leader role, like that ace role that he should be taking on while Woodruff is out, because Woodruff is definitely a better pitcher than Peralta, but he also has a lot more experience. Whereas, Peralta's been in the league for a while now, but he hasn't really had like a full season yet. I think that, like we said, this is like a career high in starts and innings for him. So if he can replicate what he did last season, maybe do 20 innings more than he did last season, hit those 32 starts like aces should, then maybe we can kind of like see like the maximized potential from Freddy Peralta.
Yep, I agree.
All right, moving on to Blake Snell, the one that everyone is waiting to hear what we got to talk about. SP ADP 61, 18th starting pitcher off the board. Cy Young winner, didn't deserve it, in my opinion, man. I guess he did deserve it because of the state of starting pitching right now, but he won it because of 2.25 ERA and 234 Ks and 180 innings, but I don't like Blake Snell, man. Go ahead and do your rant, and then I'll do my rant.
Yeah. Maybe. Do you think? Let me ask you this question. Do you think that he's his ADP is where it's at just because we don't know where he's gonna play?
Yes, I think he's going to climb probably 15 spots or so, maybe even more.
Right. So I've never been a Blake Snell guy. Even when he was with Tampa, didn't like him then. Don't like him now. I mean his stats were pretty good, 14-9. You know, like you said, 2.25 ERA, 180 innings pitched, 234 strikeouts. I just he's just so inconsistent for me, even though the record shows different. He Dude, he'll give you like one good game and then he'll give you like two or three okay games or bad games. And I just like depending on what kind of league you play in, I don't the inconsistency just I can't, man. I can't. And I would rather take any of these other dudes that are coming up on the back end of this list over Snell, just because I don't want to have nothing to do with him. I'm not saying he's a bad pitcher, to each his own, but not for me, man. Not for me.
Honestly, I think that at this ADP, I might take a chance on Blake Snell, but I know he's not going to go at 61 once he signs with the Yankees.
Yeah,
That's my thought. I think he's going to sign with the Yankees. I
think
think it's
so.
going to be a short-term deal. But you got Juan Soto over there that played with Blake Snell last season. You know they're texting. You know Soto's calling him, telling him like, "Come
Hmm.
on, man, just take the deal. Forget
Yeah.
Boris. Like, let's play together. Let's win this championship together." That's not going to happen, man.
Hmm.
So let Petco Park is one of the best pitching ballparks for minimizing home runs, and that helped Blake Snell so much, dude. Let's go
Yeah.
over some good stuff first. 98th percentile in whiff percentage, 94th percentile in strikeout percentage, 83rd percentile in hard hit rate. He was great at limiting the hard contact, held opponents to an 87.2 mile per hour exit velocity, 88th percentile in expected batting average against, 81st percentile in expected slug. All these analytics are the reasons why Blake Snell won the Cy Young for the second time in his career. But Blake Snell was helped heavily by his home ballpark, and he was so lucky, man. He gave up 99 walks. 99 walks, dude.
That's a lot.
That is so much. It
That's a
is so
lot.
crazy that he didn't get in more trouble than he did,
Yeah.
It's like 99 walks in 32 starts. That's at least 3 walks per start. He
Yeah.
had some good ones where he didn't have any walks, but then he had some really bad ones where he was like walking like 6 or 7 dudes. And the
Yeah.
reason why those walks are so bad, man, is because Blake Snell's already known as one of those pitchers that doesn't go deep into games. He only had 3 starts where he went at least 7 innings, no more than 7 innings. That was the
Mm.
cap for him all season. No 8 innings, not even pitching into the 8th inning and then getting taken out. He
Yeah.
did have a lot of 6 inning starts, which was very surprising because usually Blake Snell doesn't even get past the
No,
6.
5 inning pitcher, man.
He's a
That's what we
5
know
inning
him
pitcher.
for.
We saw
Hmm.
him in the World Series when the manager took him out after 5 innings because on the third time around in the order, he just gets into trouble, man. But
Yeah.
Blake Snell went into free agency, knowing this, and I think he really stepped it up, because he was going to be a free agent after 2023. But I don't see the same thing happening after 2024.
No
You know,
way. Not if he signs with the Yankees and he's playing
oh,
in Yankee
dude,
Stadium. No way.
no way, man. I
Uh-uh.
I, I know he's a lefty pitcher, and righties bat better against lefties, and that's going to go to left field. But still, left field isn't that much worse than right field in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Both of them are in the low 300s in terms of distance from home plate.
Hmm.
In right field, you just have the short porch. So there's a lot of doubles and a lot of home runs that just kind of go over that wall if Aaron Judge isn't catching them, you
Right.
know. Dude, Blake Snell had a 2.25 ERA, but his xERA was terrible. 377 xERA. With all those walks he gave up, I really think that he got saved by Petco, man. I think that if he doesn't sign with either the Padres or the Giants, I think he's going to get into some trouble.
Yeah. Just simply because of where he's going to be playing at. That's a big outlier. It's kind of like what we were talking about with Logan Webb. He's a different pitcher at home as opposed to being as opposed to the road. So yeah, yeah, and he's 31. You know, he's kind of up there as well. So who knows? Uh, th- I don't know, man. I'm not a Blake Snell guy, bro.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I'm not a Blake Snell
Stay
guy either.
away for me.
Honestly, though, like he did have a really good season, one of his best seasons so far, which
Yeah,
is why he won the Cy Young. But I'm just, I know that at ADP 61, that's fine. I would love to
mhm,
have him at ADP 61, maybe even like 50. But his
yeah,
ADP is going to skyrocket. It's going to go up into like the mid 30s, maybe 40, something like that. Maybe even higher, dude. I don't know, but
yeah,
I just there's a lot of Snell lovers out there, and that's fine. Y'all can have them because I'm fine with guys that I can get way later in the draft, like a Bobby Miller
yeah,
or Grayson Rodriguez. There's other
yeah.
guys that I would trust more than I trust Blake Snell,
Yep.
especially pitching in such a good hitter's ballpark like Yankee Stadium.
Dude, I didn't know this was his second Cy Young.
Yeah,
That's I think to me he hit his prime back in when he was in Tampa.
yeah, he did.
That's what
But
I think.
back then he was also only throwing 5 innings a game too. So
Yeah. Yep.
uh, I don't like that in fantasy baseball. Like the longer you can stay in the game, it's so much better.
Well, yeah, because the quality starts too, right? You got to go six
Quality
innings.
starts,
Yep.
lowering ERA, and then in points league, usually you get like so many points for each inning that you pitch.
Hmm.
Each out that you get. So yeah, and all those
Yep.
walks, man, like that's
That
just
that's crazy, bro.
it brings
Oh my
down his
god.
total points like so much. Like if he would have stuck around like 50 walks, like we like to see from aces,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
don't see him as an ace. I see him
No.
as like a number two.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, moving on to Logan Gilbert. Now, I think we kind of know who Logan Gilbert is by now. He's he's a boring yet kind of like safe guy, in my opinion. I
Hmm.
think, mid to high threes ERA with about a strikeout per inning, a really good walk rate. And I think that's like the most that you can expect out of like Logan Gilbert. He plays for a decent team, in Seattle. He's not on like some team that's going to win 100 games or even 90 games, but
Yeah.
I think he's good. I think at
Who
ADP
who
66, I think it's fine.
who would you take, Gilbert or Kirby?
I would definitely.
Because I heard your take on Kirby in the last show, and he's kind of like what was it? Kevin was saying that he's kind of in his head about walking guys, so
Yeah,
he doesn't really strike out a lot of guys. So who
I
would
think
you take?
maybe that might be just like a Seattle thing because Logan
Right?
Gilbert's walk rate is really good too. He's 95th percentile, only had
Yeah,
36 walks in
yeah,
190 innings.
it's
So
crazy.
maybe it's
Yeah,
just a
that's why I
Seattle
wanted
thing.
to. That's why I wanted to ask you. Sorry, that's why I wanted to ask you. Like, who would you take, Kirby?
I'd still take Kirby. I feel like Logan Gilbert, he's going into his age 27 season, that's not too old. He's still like he should be in his prime right now. But if he would
Mhm.
have had a breakout, I feel like we would have seen it by now. That's why I think like we already kind of know like what type of pitcher he really is. But
Yeah,
Kirby, I think, has just like pretty big upside. You know,
right,
I
right.
I, I like Kirby a lot, actually. I
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
he needs to be less emotional, I think.
mm, right, right. Yeah. 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 Logan Gilbert. Like you said, he's kind of like, "Hmm, all right." We kind of know. Like, I think last season he had a similar record. I think it was like he had 13 wins as well last season. So maybe I could still see him improving a little bit more. You know, um, he does play with on Seattle, which we know they're kind of like an up and coming kind of team. Um, but I'm okay. I'm okay. I would take Logan Gilbert over Blake Snell.
Um,
I mean, I would. That's
I
just
think
me personally.
I honestly, oh, man, I don't know. I guess it depends on what team Blake Snell signs with.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
But
Right.
Logan Gilbert, I feel is a lot more safe. Whereas like throughout the season, like most of the time, you're going to get 6 innings, 3 earned runs. You know, about a strikeout per inning, low walks. Like he's a pretty safe option, but he's
Yeah.
not going to do anything spectacular for that week to like really put you over that hump. Whereas
Right.
Blake Snell, he's either going to win the week for you or he's going to be a disaster for you for the week. You know, so
That's
I think that
risky.
it's risky. It's
Yeah.
high risk and high reward.
High
You know,
reward. Yep.
and during the playoffs, I think I actually do prefer the safer option. So I'll probably go Logan Gilbert also. I know there's going to be a lot of haters out there that don't
Yeah.
agree with Logan Gilbert going before Blake Snell. But hey, you trust some guys, you don't trust some others, you know?
Word. I agree.
All right. Moving on to the next guy. So unfortunately, Kodai Senga has
Yeah.
been
The
he's
injury bug.
injured. Oh man. Dude, I was really excited about Kodai Senga coming into 2024, man.
Yeah, I just heard about this when I was doing these notes, that he got injured, shoulder injury, which is big for a pitcher. But yeah, he's looking good, man. He was looking good last season.
Yeah.
So hey, that's kind of sucks because the Mets don't really have a lot of pitching depth, man, and that's
No.
with all the money that they that they're
But they're
spending
still
on,
paying Bobby Bonilla?
yeah, yep. And it just sucks, bro. It sucks.
Yeah, he's going to miss at least the first month of the season, but it's probably gonna be even more than that, man, because reports are coming out that Senga will be shut down from throwing for 3 weeks. So, if it's exactly 3 weeks, he might be ready about, like, a month after the season, because he's still gonna have to do, like, a throwing program, probably play a couple games in AAA,
hmm
and then, after the 3 weeks of non-throwing, he'll be reevaluated, and, we'll kinda take it from there.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, by the time everyone drafts in fantasy leagues, like, we won't know a timetable yet. So,
yeah.
that's kind of like the risk and
He
reward right there also.
he'll probably fall in ADP.
Yeah, probably. He's at ADP 69 right now. I've been kinda, like, watching it a little bit. He did fall, like, 2 spots only.
Mhm.
He was at 71 the other day, and then now or I'm sorry, 67 the other day, and now he's at 69. So, I wouldn't be surprised if he falls a little bit more. Um, I think that probably beginning of May seems to be most likely return for Kodai Senga, and, honestly, I'm kinda all over it, man. At ADP 69, if he does keep on dropping, I got IL spots,
Yep,
I got 3
yep.
or 4 IL spots in every league, so I depending on who else is around in the draft, if there's no one else that's really, like, sticking out to me at that point, dude, a 2.98 ERA with a 12-7 record and 29 starts,
Oh
only
yeah,
pitched 166 innings, so it doesn't look like he goes deep into games, but 202 strikeouts in 166 innings.
he
That's
did walk a lot of guys.
he did walk a lot of guys,
Yeah,
77 walks. That's a
he
lot,
did. Yeah,
but it's like at this ADP, like I did say for Blake Snell, if he stayed around like the same ADP as what he is now, then I wouldn't mind taking Blake Snell at that ADP, just like I don't mind taking Kodai Senga at ADP 69, or
yeah.
maybe even a little bit later. But I think that if it was a little bit higher, the 2.98 ERA looks really good. And like you said, the Mets aren't really like nothing to like really like, get crazy about. They even said they're not really focusing on 2024. They're more looking at like 2025 as like their next like, major push, which is why
Yeah.
Pete Alonso wasn't too happy with, New York and he was all like kind of like wondering about like if he was going to get traded, and he doesn't want to sign the extension. He actually did say that he's going to go into 2025 with the intentions of hitting free agency and kind of like test the market. But dude, I'm excited to see where Pete Alonso is going to go. But that's enough
Oh
of
yeah.
Pete Alonso. This isn't the first base preview. This is starting pitcher preview. So, like you said, walks were a little bit high, but great K percentage, 29.1% in his first season in the majors. Best forkball in the league, dude. Batting average
Yeah.
against of 110 that he throws 23.8% of the time. Now listen to this. I just said he has the best forkball in the league. 59.5% whiff rate on his forkball.
Damn.
60% whiff rate on a single pitch. That's oh my
Yeah.
God, dude. When I
I
saw that, I was
That's
like,
crazy.
holy crap, dude. Like, that's crazy to have that type of whiff rate,
I
A lot
I
of guys
seen
don't
they
throw the forkball. So a lot of
I,
batters, I'm probably sure it kind of like threw them off a little bit. It's very popular in the KBO and the Nippon Japanese
yeah.
League.
I
Over
heard
here,
they call it
a lot of guys,
the ghost forkball, bro.
yeah,
It's so crazy, dude.
yeah.
That's a crazy percentage, man. Like a whiff for one man. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
honestly,
crazy.
I think that's one of the reasons why he has that 2.98 ERA. He just limited so much contact, but it could also be the reason why he had such a high walk rate because guys were kind of like adapting to it towards the end of the season. Then maybe they just weren't swinging at it because they knew that it was
Right.
going to be a little bit low.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I
That
honestly though, dude, with that kind of whiff rate, I think he needs to change that to his primary pitch
yep.
and then kind of combo it with the fastball. He has a four seam, a cutter, and a forkball that he throws most of the time. The forkball is only at 23%, and the fastball is at 37%. Maybe that should like kind of like meet in the middle closer a little bit. So more whiffs and more strikeouts. I mean, 202 strikeouts and 166 innings is already pretty good, but
Yeah. If he could
I don't
limit
know,
the
man.
walks, that'd be dope. Oh
That
my
that
god.
would be the golden goose right there, man. Limit
Yep.
those walks,
Yep.
and with with the Mets do have a pretty good lineup. So he does have some run protection behind him, So I
Yeah.
mean 12-7, on on a New York team that wasn't even really trying too hard last season. I mean, obviously, trading away Scherzer and Verlander mid-season. So
Yeah. Yeah.
all in
That
all,
Mets team is
I
kind of
really
weird.
like I really like Kodai Senga, and
Yeah.
I think the farther he falls, it's better for me, So
Yeah.
hopefully, like the injury will kind of like make people stay away from him because I'm definitely targeting Kodai Senga.
Word.
All right, moving on to Grayson Rodriguez. Grayson Rodriguez, dude, this Orioles team, they know what they're doing, man.
Yeah. This is my guy right here. Dude. I've been holding on to this guy for a cool minute. He started off the season really bad, dude. So let me break this down. So he's 24, right? He went 7-4 with a 4.35 ERA, 122 innings pitched, 42 walks, 129 strikeouts. When he started the season, in 45 innings pitched, his ERA was 7.35, man. And I was like, oh my god! Like I drafted this dude, and he was supposed to be like he was one of those prospects, right, that everybody was talking about, like coming up. Baltimore's, they have a great uh they're what do you
Prospects.
call it? Yeah, they have a ton of them, right? And this was one of those guys that was up there, as far as their top prospects. So I was so hype about this guy when the season started, and man, he just fell apart. He was not locating his pitches. He was giving up a lot of bombs. I was like, oh my god, like I drafted this dude. Now you when you draft a prospect, you kind of give a little bit of leeway when he's struggling, right? You're like, all right, let me hold on to him. Let's see if we can work out the kinks or whatnot. And that the first part of the season, he just wasn't doing it, man. And they ended up sending him back down to AAA. And man, dude, like he was out there for I think a month, a little over a month, and he came back, man. And I don't know what he did, but he worked it out, and he came back. So here are the stats, right? From April through May, he gave up 37 runs, 13 home runs, 21 walks. That's his 7.35 ERA. He came back in July or June, July. Through September, he only gave up 22 runs, 3 home runs allowed only. Did still give up 21 walks, but his ERA was 2.67, dude. Like I don't know what he did, um, what um he worked out
So
during his
I'll tell
time
you what he did.
in the minors.
I'll tell
Go
you what
ahead.
he did. He stopped throwing his cutter. His
Yeah.
cutter was getting hit so hard, man, and he
Yep.
developed very good fastball command. So
Yeah.
it looks like you said, he worked out whatever he needed to in the minors, because that May, dude, he had a 11.14 ERA in May, man.
That's
26
crazy.
earned runs in 21 innings in
I
5
was gonna
games.
drop him. I was gonna drop him, dude.
I think
I was
everyone was
ready.
thinking about dropping him,
I was like,
so hard
is
when
it?
you're in a keeper league, though.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, is it even worth it? Like maybe there's somebody else out there that I can have in my, on my squad that, is probably more consistent. And I was like, man, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna keep him. I'm gonna write it out. You still have that little NA spot, depending on what
Mhm.
kind of league you play. So I dropped him in my NA, and he came back, and I was reading that he was he was focusing a lot on all his different type of pitches instead of the ones that actually work for him. And I guess he made that adjustment, and he just concentrated on the stuff that actually gets him the strikeouts and gets him, ground balls and stuff like that. So, dude, great adjustment. And dude, I'm so hype about this dude. I don't know, man. I have a great feeling. Now Corbin Burns is there too, veteran guy. Oh my god, bro.
He's gonna learn so
Uh-uh.
much from Corbin Burns,
Yes.
dude.
Yes.
Like you said, he had a 2.58 ERA in the second half after he stopped throwing that cutter. If you take away that terrible May, that 11.14 ERA, and you take all his other starts, he had a 2.94 ERA,
That's awesome.
under 3 as a rookie, man.
Yep. Yep.
23 starts. You saw him pitch 122 innings. I think it was closer to like 160 innings overall when you take into account the AAA games that
Hmm.
he started. So I don't think he's going to have any restrictions going into 2024. I think we could see a breakout for
Yep.
Grayson Rodriguez. That 4.35 ERA. I feel like that's going to make some people think like, I need to see some better
I wrote
stuff.
it on there, bro. Breakout. Dude,
Yeah,
I'm really hype about this guy, man. Like and the Baltimore Orioles, they're an exciting team. They're
yeah.
a young team. They're a hungry team. Man, they're
They're
dude,
they're a fun team to watch. Honestly,
dude,
dude, like the two, like other than the Dodgers, the two teams that I'm really watching, dude, is the Orioles
yeah.
and the Reds.
Yep.
'Cause the
And
Reds young lineup, like they're so fun to watch too,
dude,
man.
and then Jackson Holiday might come in and play
Yeah.
this season. Oh my
I
god,
think he's
dude.
gonna be up by opening day.
Damn, dude. That
I think
lineup, bro. Oh my god.
I think the
That lineup.
Orioles are smart. They're going to bring up Jackson Holiday. They're going to bank on him getting Rookie of the Year for the American League, so that way they can get that draft compensation, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know who's running the Orioles front office, but they're doing a bang up job.
Hell yeah, they are. Hell yeah, they are. All these are all like drafts, man. Draft picks, dude.
Yep,
Like
yep.
prospects, man. I mean, that's how you
Either
build
drafts or trades,
yep.
before they even get up. So
Dude,
smart.
and I,
So
I
smart.
just think that the whole Corbin Burns signing was that was it for me. I'm
And
like, yo, this,
they didn't even give up a lot for him, dude.
nope, nope. That they're gonna be a good team for many years to come, dude. I'm excited for them.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving on to ADP 79, number 22 on our list. Now, I got a question for you. This guy that we're talking about next has never really showed like any breakout potential. He did have some pedigree. They said that he was coming up into the league. They said that he was going to be like, maybe ace potential. Maybe that's a little high, but maybe like number 2 potential. And we actually just saw a breakout season from this guy at age 29 going into his age 30 season. And that's Zach Eflin.
Yeah.
Zach Eflin, he best season of his career so far. My question is, do you think that this season, now that he's in Tampa versus in Philly, is this the kind of pitcher that we're going to see going forward? You know, the 3.50 ERA in 177 innings, or do you think that maybe that he was just a little bit lucky, you know, in 2023, and we're going to see more of like what we saw from Zach Eflin in years past?
So here's my thing. There's such a big gap between when he played with the Phillies and he had a decent season. I think he had like 10 wins, I believe, in 2019.
10 wins,
Yeah.
but that came with a 4.13 ERA.
Yeah, but okay, so what I was saying is you look at those wins, right? And then you look at the years after that into last season. There's a big gap between the wins he had there and the 14 wins he had this season. I think he had, I don't know what the stats are in the previous 3 seasons or 2 seasons, but there was nowhere near what he did in Philly or with Tampa this past season. You get what I'm saying? Like the gap is just big for me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you see the season in 2019 that he had with Philly, and you're like, all right, this is probably what you're gonna see from Zach Eflin, right? That the high ERA, 10 wins, whatever. And then I think he had a drop off. I don't know how many wins he had after that. Maybe like 4 or 5
It
or
was
something like that.
4, and then 3.
Yeah. See, okay, so that's where
Oh,
my thing is.
2020 was one of those 4, so
Yeah,
cancel that out. So he
yeah,
had
yeah, yeah.
4 wins in 2021 and 3 wins in 2022.
So that's where my argument is with him. I don't know if how do I put it? I don't know if I can say that he's gonna have this type of season again, just because there was so much time in between the 10 wins and the 14 wins where it's like what happened. I don't know if there was injuries involved. I'm not, I'm not really sure, in the other 2 or 3 seasons. But
Yeah, there had to be, because he only pitched
yeah.
105 innings in 2021 and only 75 innings in 2022.
So we see Eflin. I've known Eflin to go on the IL plenty of times.
Mhm.
I don't know how serious the injuries are, but I've seen him on IL stints more than once throughout the seasons, right? So that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know. I can't really give you a definitive answer if this is what we're gonna see. Because 14-8, that's great. 3.30 ERA, that's awesome, dude. 177 innings pitch. That means he had a healthy season, pretty much. You know, um, he plays on in Tampa. Tampa's a pretty good team, right? So I mean it'd be great to have this kind of production from him again, but I don't know. I can't say, yeah, that, for sure he's gonna have this kind of production, just because it's been like kind of weird how many innings he's been able to pitch throughout the past 4 or 5 seasons. It's just kind of like I don't know if I want that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I think that the Rays are a very smart organization, and they see potential where other teams don't, and that's what they did with Tyler Glass now.
Hmm.
That's what they've done with multiple pitchers that have come over. And Zach Eflin has just become one of those pitchers that I think that they work their magic with. Career high in strikeout percentage at 26.5. Career high ground ball rate at 50.4%. Career low walk rate at 3.4%. That's 99th percentile. Career low fly ball rate and line drive rate. Career low expected batting average against. He's always been good at limiting the hard contact, but he's always given up a lot of fly balls. And in Philly, that's that's a recipe for disaster. But
Right.
in Tampa, the ball doesn't fly like it does in Philly. Now,
Yeah.
2023, moving from the Phillies to the Rays, he found a way to increase the ground ball percentage and lower the fly ball percentage. So what changed? The sinker curve combo usage. It's unusual to see. Sorry, it's unusual. Decreasing the sinker usage would increase the ground ball percentage. That's actually exactly what happened with Zach Eflin. It's so
Mm.
weird. The sinker usage in 2023 was down 8% from 2022, and the curveball usage increased 6.4% from 2022. But the curveball seemed to make all the difference, man. It had a 34.9% whiff rate. That's where all those strikeouts came from, dude.
Yeah.
Only 186 strikeouts in 177 innings, but career high in strikeouts this season, or career high in strikeout rate this season. Yeah. So I think with this new pitch mix, I think that we could actually see Zach Eflin replicate his 2023 season, or maybe even get a little bit better. You know,
what is his ADP?
ADP is 79. Okay. I would definitely take a chance on Zach Eflin at ADP 79.
Yeah.
You know,
that's not a bad spot for him.
There's a lot of good pitchers like around this area, man.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that we just talked about. So I honestly, if you're in your drafts and you miss out on Spencer Strider, you miss out on Garrett Cole, Corbin Burns, Zach Wheeler, you know, like the top like 10, let's say, you could easily get like 3 of these pitchers right here that we've talked about so far, including the next 2 that we're about to talk about. Yeah. And I think that your pitching staff will be just fine. You know, if you want to focus on batting for the first 3 rounds, you know, that's fine. Go 3 batters and then go 3 pitchers, you know. And I think that your lineup will actually look really, really good. So after Zach Eflin, the next guy that I want to talk about. So what's the guy we were talking about that I said I took off this list?
Oh, Jesus Luzardo.
Oh, Jesus Luzardo. So Jesus Luzardo was actually next in line in ADP, but I like these next 2 guys so much better. So I'm going to talk about Bobby Miller first. Bobby Miller, ADP 86, 23rd pitcher in the rankings, in our rankings. You know, both of us being Dodger fans, I'm going to let you take this one first. I'll give my 2 cents after.
All right. So Bobby Miller, right? 24 years old. He went 11-4, 3.76 ERA in 124 innings pitched, 32 walks and 119 strikeouts. So the guy that everybody was talking about coming up from the Dodgers was not Bobby Miller. That I remember, it was Gavin Stone, and everybody was hype about Gavin Stone. And this is the next big guy and whatnot. Gavin Stone took a crap. I don't know what happened. Maybe the pressure got to him. He was not that guy. And Bobby Miller came in, and he came out of nowhere. This dude was amazing for a prospect to come up, and you know, with all the injuries that the Dodgers were having, for him to step up the way he did, holy crap, man. So, you know, I'm very excited about Bobby Miller. Just because you know, with what we saw and him having like a full, you know, spring training and everything, like I can see him being, you know, that under the radar kind of guy that nobody's really talking about, you know. And you know, with the injuries, like I said, to the Dodgers rotation, this is gonna be a big help for the Dodgers, dude. We don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I don't know what their rotation looks like right now. You know, they got a couple of guys that are still kind of banged up, you know, Dustin May and Gonsling and stuff like that. So, you know, Bueller, you know, he has some setbacks in his rehabs that I heard of. So he's gonna have to step in and continue what he did last season. And dude, I'm just so excited about this dude. You know, yeah, you know, wherever he's at in ADP, I'll take him over definitely Luzardo and maybe some of the other guys that we talked about before. And you know, he's got the Dodgers offense behind him as well, so that's a big plus. I'm excited about Bobby Miller, man.
Yeah, he's only 24 years old, man, and seeing what he did in his rookie season, I feel like he's just going to get better. And I'm just going to talk about his pitches real quick because this kind of like, you know, threw me for a loop. 99-mile-an-hour fastball, 20.5% whiff rate, 99-mile-an-hour sinker, 18.1% whiff rate, 90-mile-an-hour slider, 29% whiff rate, 88-mile-an-hour changeup, 39.9% whiff rate, 40% whiff rate on his changeup, 80-mile-an-hour curveball, 36% whiff rate. Now, he has 3 different pitches where he's getting whiffs on at least 30% of the pitches that he's throwing. And he only had 119 strikeouts in 124 innings. So I think that pitch mix changes up a little bit, and he has so much strikeout potential. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
There 3 different pitches with 30% whiff rate. That's incredible.
Dude, and I'm sorry, dude, and you know how the Dodgers groom their pitchers, man. They're so good at grooming their young up and coming pitchers. Like I don't know what happened with Stone, but that's probably the one outlier. But I think he might actually be a little bit better this coming season. But as far as like Dodgers and their pitching, like we know what the Dodgers can do with their pitchers. We know how they can help them work out their kinks and stuff like that. So even that right there, stuff that behind the scenes stuff that we don't see, like that's a big thing for these young pitchers that are coming up.
Yeah. One more thing about Bobby Miller before we move on. He struggled a little bit in June and July. But he finally settled in August and September. Now, we mentioned that he had a 3.76 ERA overall for the whole season. In August and September, in his last 12 starts, he posted a 3.09 ERA. That's incredible right there to finish the season strong like that. I think he has breakout potential in 2024. And like you just mentioned, like a bunch of those names that the Dodgers have also. You didn't mention Tyler Glasnow. You didn't mention James Paxton. And you did say Walker Buehler, but those 3 guys right there, those 3 veterans that Bobby Miller can get so much information from and learn from, dude, Bobby Miller is going to be incredible. I even saw an interview with Tyler Glasnow, and Tyler Glasnow was saying like, man, I want Bobby Miller's changeup, and Bobby Miller was like, well, I want your curveball. Like they were kind of like going back and forth. But dude, Bobby Miller's curveball is 36% whiff rate on it. He only uses it 18% of the time. All of these pitches that I just named, they have a usage of at least 16% or more.
He likes to mix it in.
Most he does, yeah. A lot of times pitchers like that have this many pitches, 5 pitches, usually like the bottom 2 are like 5%, 6%, something like that. His least used pitches are the slider and the changeup that are both at least 16%. So he does have a really big pitch mix. The sinker is the one that has the least whiff rate, but sometimes you need a ground ball, and to have that in your arsenal, that's great, man. I think that we have a future ace in the making. Maybe not in the Dodgers because they have like 5 aces, but he's freaking solid, man. And I think breakout potential is actually pretty likely for 2024.
Yeah. Bobby looks like the real deal, man.
Yeah, especially at his ADP. I love that ADP. I'm all over it. All right. I think I'm actually more excited about this, like 14 to 24, than I am more about like the top 12 to 13. Those guys you got to pay a premium. You got to use a high draft pick for all those guys. But dude, all these guys that we're talking about right now, at their ADPs, like that's
you get them on the low. Hell yeah.
You can go and get like so many good hitters and then still wait in the middle rounds, like we're talking about right now, and get guys like Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan had a very disappointing season. You and I were both really high on Joe Ryan in 2023. But okay, so his ERA is 4.51, not so good. But his xERA is 3.53. And that sounds a lot better to me. And that if people don't understand what xERA and ERA means, his actual ERA could be a little inflated because of numerous things. It's like a pop-up that just barely goes over the second baseman's head and then lands on the grass. That's something that should have been caught. So his expected ERA goes down a little bit because of those little bloop singles, or a little dribbler like a swinging bunt that the pitcher tries to go run and grab, and then he just misplays it and then can't get the out. Stuff like that. Those are the type of things that help the xERA go down a little bit. So Joe Ryan, extreme fly ball pitcher, I don't like that at all. But
Yeah.
I honestly, dude, I think that he has potential to be maybe not an ace, but definitely a number 2. 197 Ks in
Yeah.
151 innings. That's
Yeah.
incredible with only 34 walks.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Joe Ryan. I love Joe Ryan. He like you said, he had a disappointing season last season, but it was basically a tale of two halves, right? He started off super strong,
yeah.
and then I believe he got injured. I think he had a groin injury. So I was reading up on this stuff, and apparently he was dealing with a groin injury, and so he was throwing pitches that he was comfortable throwing, and people picked up on it. Batters picked up on it. They knew what was coming because
He was tipping it.
you're trying to throw a pitch that, yeah, yeah, basically. So he said that batters were getting comfortable and they knew what was coming, and that's why he kind of fell apart during the second half of the season. But his potential is so high, bro. And he plays on a good team. Minnesota, it's one of those teams that they're finally getting all their pieces together. They got Pablo Lopez, right, starting, at the top of the rotation. They got a couple of young guys out there, that, if they can stay healthy, Byron Buxton, you know, I think his potential, like, he's only 27. He's still young. He could still make adjustments. He could still improve. And then the strikeouts, bro. 199 strikeouts, bro. 197 strikeouts.
Yeah,
That's awesome, dude.
when it comes to starting pitching, like the state of starting pitching is so crazy right now because ERA is inflated, WHIP is inflated all across the board. But the one thing that you can depend on is strikeouts. The guys that have gotten strikeouts are going to continue to get strikeouts.
Yeah.
Unless they purposely do things to change that. Like Walker Buehler used to be a higher strikeout pitcher, but he's changed up his mix a little bit to
Hmm.
more induced ground balls to kind of like lower his pitch count so he can pitch deeper into games. And that's a strategy. It sucks for fantasy because you want those strikeouts, but he's also going deeper into games so that it's kind of like give and take. But
Yeah.
Joe Ryan, all those things that you just said, I think he just needs to cut down on the fly balls. If he can
Hmm.
help cut down on the fly balls, that's like his bread and butter also, trying to get pop-ups, that
Right.
high fastball in the zone. But he's only throwing it 93, 94 miles an hour. If he was like Luis Castillo velocity throwing 97, it might be a little bit different. He'd be getting a lot more whiffs on it. But
Hmm.
I think that we could see something closer to what Joe Ryan did in 2022 next season, as long as he can stay healthy, like you mentioned, like the groin injury. So I do like Joe Ryan going into the season. Um,
Hmm.
I I don't know if I like him at ADP 91. I think that might be kind of like the breaking point. I really got to see who else is going around that same time in the draft. But if it comes up to my turn in the draft and Joe Ryan's sitting right there and it's between him and Jesus Luzardo, I think I'm going after Joe Ryan.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't want any part of any Marlins pitchers
Martin.
except maybe Yuri Perez. I think he's the only one that I might take a chance on, but he's not even in the top 24, so I wouldn't have to worry about him until way later in the draft anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
All right, guys, that's the end of the show. We went a little bit long today at an hour and 13 minutes, but hey, we got a lot of content to go over, man, before the season starts. And usually these rankings kind of like go a little bit longer anyway. But thank you for joining us. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. For anyone that's still listening, we still do have one spot in our Real Talk Baseball Fan League. I got the picture right here for those that are watching. It's a head-to-head categories league. There's prizes for the winner, no entry fee. So if you would like to get in, send us a message on any social media platform that you follow us on. You can scan that QR code in the top right corner. It'll take you at all of our social medias. Make sure you please like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff everywhere available. Also, we just added our podcast to Apple Podcasts. So if you guys like to listen rather than watch, you can always listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thanks, Javi, for being here. And Real Talk Baseball signing out. We'll see you guys next week with our relief pitcher rankings. That one's a little bit tougher because in points leagues they don't really matter so much, but a lot of categories listeners, like we got that fan league coming up, so definitely gonna have to talk about some closers. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
Later.